Hello everybody, Ouija Wee here with the Honda 2 portion of this tutorial. Honda 2 is the first fight you'll find in the World Circuit, and one of the more technical fights of the speedrun. In fact, I wouldn't recommend you actually learn the harder strats for Honda 2 until you're probably at Dawn 2 in the tutorial, or maybe Sandman. One of the reasons is he takes a long time to learn to be able to pull off properly. There's just about every punch in the fight is hard to pull off. Especially the max damage uppercuts, but there's a lot of guard manipulation going on, and before you learn any of that stuff, I would actually recommend you learn the buffered fight. And there's a perfect buffer for this fight that will allow you to get a 1 minute 0.99 second win 100% of the time. So that should be the first thing you learn, and when you're doing runs, it's probably something you want to stick to for a while until you can master the harder strategies for this fight. So let me show you the minute fight now, where every punch is buffered. You're going to start the fight by just buffering B until you run out of hearts. So watch your heart count. When it hits 0, you're going to dodge left 4 times slowly, and then you're going to start buffering B again, 5 more punches till you get a star, and then you buffer the start punch to use it. 2 more punches, 5 left dodges, and then 3 more punches, and you win. You'll get a 1 minute 0.99 every time. And that's it. So I'll walk you through it one more time real quick. You just empty your heart count by buffering B, then it's 4 slow left dodges, and then 5 punches to the gut till you get a star. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first 4 punches are a little quick. 2 more punches after the star, 5 dodges, and then finally 3 punches. And that's it. It's a free win. It's not as easy as Glass Joe, but it's not too much harder. And because this is so easy comparative to the other strats where you're going to get maybe a 46 at best to maybe like a 50-51. It's a significant time game if you pull off the harder strats, but right now I would work on this one before learning the harder stuff. And even before you do learn the harder stuff, you need to practice something called a Dizzy Destroyer, which I'll show you here. A Dizzy Destroyer is when you manipulate his guard to punch him. You've done it a few times already where you hold up, let go of up, and punch him in the gut. But a Dizzy Destroyer is, no, you do that, and then after you do that, see, I'm holding up here, and I'm going to let go of up and hit him in the gut. But after you hit him in the gut, you hold up in B, and then as that punch is going off, you let go. So before the face punch lands, you want him to take it, like that. Now let me slow it down so you can see it a little bit better here. I'm going to raise his guard. I tapped B, so gut punch is going off. Now here I'm already holding up in B, and I'm going to let go as soon as the punch starts going off right here. See, his guard is up, but since I let go, he's going to drop his guard right before the punch hits him. Boom. Okay, now we're going to keep doing that over and over and over. This is good practice. Hold up, let go of up, hit B, hit him in the gut, up in B, let go as the punch is going off. He gets hit in the face, over and over and over. So this is what you should do when you want to start learning the harder strats. The harder strats don't take advantage of Dizzy Destroyers as much as they used to, but you're still going to need to learn it because sometimes you will have to complete 1 or 2, depending on what kind of luck you get. So just do this over and over and over and over. You'll notice if you get a star punch, it delays your next punch a little bit, so it's tricky to get a feel for. That's why it does require quite a bit of practice. But yeah, just do that until you have a good sense of it. And then you can start learning the harder stuff, which I'll show you right here. So right here, this is going to be the current strats that we use to get as low a time as possible. I think this fight ends up being a high 45. And let me slow it down here. So the first punch of the fight is going to be a gutter, where you hold up, let go, and hit him with a B. And the second punch of the fight is going to be a lot like the Von Kaiser second punch on the expert strats, where you hold A and then you tap up as the punch is going off. So look at the controller, you'll see it. Let go of up and hit B, and we're going to punch him in the gut. Now we're going to buffer A. You can see we're buffering A, and as that punch is going off, we're going to hold up and it'll hit him in the gut. Now after that, you want to let go of your controller because right now his guard is up. You want him to drop his guard, then you can tap up and B to pop him in the face. So his guard is up. Wait for it to go down just a frame. It only takes it half a second, and boom, it's down. I tapped up and B really quickly. Hit him in the face. Next punch, you can buffer, but you don't want to hold up and B the entire time. You want to let go of up and B before the punch hits him, or he will block. So I let go, and he's going to get hit in the face now. So that's the first 4 punches of this strat. Now you'll notice we just got a star, so we're going to hold start, just buffer the star punch. Okay, now we're going to hold up to raise his guard and hit him with a right gut. And that's important because the way this strat works out is you need that extra damage. If you remember, a right gut does 5 damage and a left gut does 4. If you end up doing a left gut there, you're not going to knock him down when you want to, so you need to do a right gut there. So it's just hold up, let go of up, and then press A to hit him with a right gut. The next punch, we're going to hold up and start because we want to manipulate his guard up so that we can pop him in the face later. You'll get a star from that right gut every time. Now you hit him in the face with the star punch, and hopefully his guard should be up. So now you're going to wait for him to come back, and he's going to drop his guard because you're not pressing anything on the D-pad. And you're going to pop him in the face twice, up and B, and then up and B. And make sure you don't hold up and B the whole time on the second punch, or he might block it. So I just tapped it up real quick right there. Now I'm buffering it, but I'm going to let go before it lands, just like that. Now I'm going to hold up and start. I'm not sure if you have to hold up there, but I do. I'm not sure if it's necessary. You could probably just buffer start. But the next 2 punches are going to be up and B, very easy buffered punches. You don't have to worry about anything, just buffer them. So since I'm going to hold up and B for the last 2 punches, I just hold up for start also. And that's phase 1. And you should get a 27-second knockdown. If you're a tad slow, you can get a 28. If you're too slow, what's going to happen is you're not going to get max damage on one of your uppercuts, and he's going to block you. And, you know, you got to practice not being too slow for this. It's a very technical fight. I'm going to try and show it now at normal speed. So raise a gut punch, and then A, and then tap up while the punch is going off right here. Face, face, don't, oops. Try this again. There we go. Face, face. And make sure the second face punch you let go of up and B as it's going off. Just buffer a star punch. Right gut. I'm gonna raise his gut for that. Guard, I mean. And it's so fast I can't talk through everything. So it's left gut, right gut, pop in the face, star punch, right gut, star punch, holding up, pop, star punch, and then buffer up and B twice. Whew, okay, that's phase 1. Now, phase 2, he has 2 refills. And also in phase 1, there's a chance to get a lucky star. And if you get a lucky star, you go into phase 2 with 2 stars. So we didn't get a lucky star. And we're also getting the low refill, which is good. So again, this is the ideal fight for Honda 2. Now, as you can see, I'm holding left here. Now, this is one of the harder parts of the fight. We're going to do a quick left dodge by pressing left and then up. And then as you press up, you want to press start at the same time so that you can throw the star. Now, there's a 4-frame window to hit this star punch at max damage. And those 4 frames happen to be 2 frames before he raises his guard and 2 frames after. As long as you let go of up and start during those 4 frames, you will get a max damage uppercut. And this is really, really hard to pull off. I'm going to slow it down. I hold up and start, let go of up and start right as he raises his guard. And he drops his guard, you saw, right before the punch hits him. that's your cue to know that you did it right. You could also look at his health. His health will go down a lot more than it normally would if you didn't do it right. So let's show you this again. You see I'm holding up and start. I let go just as his guard goes up. Show you one more time. Up and start. His guard goes up. And I probably let go 1 or 2 frames later. Yep, right there, 1 frame later. So this is going to land, and his guard goes down before he gets hit, so it's max damage. 22 damage. Okay. Now we need a star, and this is a guaranteed star. You raise his guard and hit him in the gut. Now we're going to buffer left and do another max damage uppercut. Press up and start. Let go and his guard goes up. Hopefully he drops it as it hits him. He does. Max damage uppercut. Good. Now we're going to raise his guard and gutter him. And now we're going to actually do the second half of the Disease Destroyer, where you hold up and B, and you have to let go of up and B before the punch hits him. And there it is. That'll knock him down. Okay. So let's look at phase 2 one more time. Let me show you exactly what you're looking for at the beginning of phase 2. You need to know whether you're getting the good refill or the bad refill. And this is when I look right here. Right as I'm letting go of the star punch. Right when it hits him is when you can tell. Because if you saw, his health stopped right on the notch, right there. His health stopped going up there. That means if it stops on the 4th notch, that means he has the low refill, and that's good. So you'll have a slightly faster phase 2. Okay. Now phase 3, again, this is no cakewalk. There's only 1 punch involved, but it's a max damage uppercut. The problem with Honda 2 is, unless you have 3 stars, you're not going to hit him with the star punch. So you can't just buffer the start button, because he'll just dodge. So what you need to do is you have to throw a max damage uppercut. That's the only way to hit him here. You can do that by buffering left, then pressing up and start, making it a quick dodge, and letting go at the right time so that you can actually hit him with the punch. So this fight overall, very, very technical, very, very difficult. It's going to take a lot of practice to pull all that off. And on top of all that, you're going to need to know what to do in other situations. So I'm going to show you here. This is called Early Luck, Bad Refill, which means we're going to get a lucky star in phase 1. We're going to knock him down in 27 seconds and have 2 stars going into phase 2, but we're going to get the bad refill. And getting a lucky star in phase 1 is really good when you get the bad refill in phase 2, because it'll guarantee that you're going to have a star going into phase 3 for the most part. So that lucky star comes right at the end of phase 1, right there. When you're doing these 2 punches, 1, 2, you get 2 stars. Sometimes you get 1, sometimes you get 2. So phase 2, it's going to start exactly the same. You're going to do a left dodge or quick dodge star punch. And you can see now as it's going off, his health went above the 4th notch. So this is when you realize, uh-oh, I got the bad refill. So you gut punch, quick dodge, and this is the part where we did the gut punch and face punch to knock him down. But we can't do that now because he has the bad refill. What we're going to have to do is raise his guard and do a gut punch, and then instead of doing a face punch to knock him down, all you have to do is buffer start. Just like that. And that'll knock him down. That's what you do when you have the bad refill. You have to knock him down with a star punch. Okay? So good refill, and knock him down with the face punch where you have to let go of up and B. Bad refill, just throw a star punch. The problem with the star punch is if you don't get a lucky star in phase 1, then you're not going to have a star to use. Well, you will have a star to use there, but you won't have a star going into phase 3. So if you get a lucky star in phase 1, that's when you know you're safe. You can actually do what I just did there. And then phase 3 is pretty much always the same as long as you have a star going into it. Quick dodge, let go of up and start just as his guard goes up, and you'll hit him. So what happens if we don't get a lucky star in phase 1? Okay, speed it up a bit. You don't get a lucky star in phase 1, and then you get the bad refill in phase 2. You're gonna have to throw an extra punch and hope for a lucky star in phase 2. So now we have 1 star going into phase 2, and we're gonna get the big refill. It says 64 next health. So because I have the Lewis scripts on here in the emulator, I already know that. But you would know that playing the game on console. You'd still have to peek at his health here. Right there. Now you know you get the bad refill. So now, instead of throwing the star punch right away, I am going to finish the dizzy by holding up and B. You see I'm holding up and B. Because I want a chance. It's a 50% chance to get an extra star here. And that'll set you up for phase 3. And I do get the lucky star in phase 2. So now I have a star going into phase 3. And now I can just do the dodge, max damage uppercut. And those max damage uppercuts, they take a lot of practice. A lot of practice. And it really stinks when you miss one in phase 3. Because then, instead of looking at something like a 49 or 45 or 46, you're probably looking at a minute. You're going to lose a lot of time if you miss it. Okay, now here's the worst luck possible. What happens if you don't get a lucky star in phase 1, and then you don't get that 50% chance lucky star when you're trying to knock them down at the end of phase 2? So take a look at the fight again. Left gut, right gut, 2 face punches, buffered star, raises guard gut, up and start, pop, pop, star punch, pop, pop, no lucky star. So we're going to get the big refill. We're going to throw a max damage uppercut. And then raise his guard, hit him in the gut to get a star. Do another max damage, raise his guard, hit him in the gut. And face punch, no lucky star. Darn. Okay, so we didn't get the lucky star in phase 1 or 2. So what do? Well, you do 1 Dizzy Destroyer, which is where you hold up, hit him in the gut, and then you hold up and B and let go before it hits him. Now there's a 50% chance you're going to get a star on the gut punch. However, it's really hard to react to. So what I recommend doing is to just do a Dizzy Destroyer, hit him in the gut, hit him in the face. It's 100% chance you're going to get a star if you do both of those. And then you do a max damage uppercut by quick dodging left and throwing the star. Now, worst luck possible, you're going to get a 54. You know, but hey, it's still 6 seconds faster than a minute. And if you've come this far, you might as well go for it. Okay. So now I'm going to show you an alternative strat. If you don't like the max damage uppercuts, there's an alternative strat you can use in phase 2, because I know they're really hard. So phase 1, you always want to do the same phase 1. You're going for the 27-second knockdown, unless you're going for the super risky strats, which can actually get a 25-second knockdown. And I'll show those later, but I don't recommend them. So phase 1, always the same. Just practice phase 1 until you can get it, because it's very important. If you mess up phase 1, there's probably still enough time to pull off a phase 2 and still get a sub-minute fight, depending on what you do. Okay, so here, I should pause it here. So what we're going to do for the alternate phase 2, if you don't want to go for those max damage uppercuts, it's going to be you buffer start to start, okay, to throw a star punch. And then you're going to do either 1 or 2 Dizzy Destroyers, depending on what his health is. And you're going to have to peek at his refill as that star punch is hitting him. Okay, we know we got the bad refill. So we're going to do 2 Dizzy Destroyers no matter what, which is holding up. I'm already holding up. I hit him in the gut and then the face. Let go of up and B before it hits him, so you can hit him in the face. And do 1 more Dizzy Destroyer. Okay, now we have to count how many strides he does, okay? So his strides after the star punch, or not the star punch, after the last face punch. Now, I watch his feet. When his feet go out, I count that as 1, and then when they go in, I count that as 2, 3, 4, and then you let the star go. So I'll show you again. Just watch his feet after I do land the second Dizzy Destroyer. That's 1, that's 2, and his feet go 1, 2, 3, 4. As soon as they touch the floor on the 4th one, throw the start punch, and then you just buffer 2 face punches. So one more time, start, 2 dizzies, 1, 2, 3, 4, press start, buffer up and B twice, and that's a much easier phase 2. Okay, and that's what happens when you get the bad refill in phase 2. But one good thing about it is you don't have to do any max damage uppercuts using this strat. As you can see, I'm going into phase 3 with 3 stars, and that's a good thing. If you have 3 stars going into phase 3, all you have to do is press start. You can see I'm already buffering start, and it'll hit him. And you'll get a decent time too, 53, and that's with the bad refill in phase 2. So you might want to try this strat first, the phase 2 strats. Let's see what happens if we get a good refill in phase 2. So we're going to start right in phase 2. We're going to hold start. Do one dizzy. That's all we needed to do because now we have 3 stars. This is not something I recommend because you're always going to have 1 star going into phase 2. If you get the good refill, which we did, let's back up a little bit here. So right when the star punch is going off and about to hit him, that's when you're going to know you got the good refill. So you know you got the good refill, and that changes things. If you can get 2 stars on the next 2 punches during your first dizzy, like we did, now we're going to count 5 strides and then just a little bit before we press start instead of 4 on the nose. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then he hits start, and then buffer B twice. And that's a little bit faster, but it's also risky because you don't always get to 3 stars after 1 dizzy. Okay, so if you want to play it safe, and this is what I would recommend if you're going to use these strats, if you get the good refill, want to play it safe, what I would recommend you do is complete 2 dizzies no matter what. So 1, and then another 1. Now, if you do that, and you get the good refill, okay, you only have to wait for 3 strides. Okay, so his feet are going to go out, then in, then out, and then you press start. Out, in, out, hit start. And the reason you do that is because you want to... Okay, first of all, you had the good refill. If you landed a max damage star there and threw it at the right time, it would have knocked him down, and you wouldn't have had 3 stars going into phase 3. So you watch his health now. It only does 14 damage, whereas a max damage would have done, I think, 22. So you don't want to do a max damage there. You want to throw it early. So 3 strides when you get the good refill. And that'll allow you to pick up a 3rd star right here before you knock him down. That way, if you want to do the easier strats, you always want 3 stars going into phase 3. That way you don't have to do a max damage uppercut. Just hold start. And there you go. So knowing exactly what refill you get and how many Dizzy Destroyers you have to do and how many feet strides in phase 2 is very important. Okay, you need to memorize that stuff so you know what situation you're in. You don't want to accidentally knock them down and then have 2 stars or 1 star going into phase 3. If you do, I recommend you do a Dizzy Destroyer in phase 3 to get a 3rd star and then knock them down with a star punch. Okay, next thing I want to show is an alt strat. Now this isn't one that I recommend you guys do because it's really, really risky and it does involve throwing more max damage uppercuts. But as you can see, I get a 25-second knockdown. So this is the fastest phase 1 that you can possibly get in a single segment. And again, it's really hard. You have to be really fast with the Dizzy Destroyers. You don't want to waste any frames. And what you want to do is you want to open the fight with 3 Dizzy Destroyers. Hold up, raise his guard, hit him in the gut, pop him in the face, let go of up and B before the face punch. So you do that 3 times. Now in this scenario, we get a lucky star. After 3 Dizzy Destroyers, we have 3 stars. Okay, so that's a 3rd star. Now we're going to buffer start. You know, it doesn't seem so hard yet, but trust me, this is a lot harder and not as consistent as any other strat. This is the only strat that makes you throw a max damage uppercut in phase 1, and after we buffer start here and throw a star punch, that's what we're going to do. So right here, we're holding left, and then I'm going to hold up and start for a max damage. And he dropped his guard just before it hit him, so we'll do max damage. Next punch, just buffer start again. Next 2 punches, you buffer up and B. That's it. 25-second knockdown. Now, there's 2 main reasons we don't use these, and it's because, one, it requires you to get a lucky star. If you don't get a lucky star, you're going to lose time. The second reason is we don't like having to throw a max damage uppercut in phase 1. It's for some reason a little harder to land in phase 1 than it is in phase 2. If you mess it up, then your whole phase 1 is going to be screwed up. But if you still want to try this strat, that's what a good phase 1 is going to look like. Good phase 2 is going to look like, well, hold on, before we get to phase 2, this is what happens if you try this strat and don't get a lucky star. Instead of doing just 3 Dizzy Destroyers, you do 4. And then you just buffer start 3 times. And then you buffer up and B twice. That's it. However, you get a 28 on the clock, as you can see. So it's slower than what we normally do. The only reason you'd want to try this is if you think you need those 2 seconds and you think you can pull it off and you think you're going to get the luck. Because if you do get that 25-second knockdown, you're looking at like a 44 flat or 44.25, and that's really awesome. Phase 2, of course, is exactly the same as the normal phase 2, but you're going to get a 39-second knockdown if you get the low refill, and then you knock him down with a max damage uppercut. And this is the only 44 flat that I know of. It's funny, I got a 44 flat on emulator before I ever got one on console, but here it is, 44 flat. That's probably as good as this is going to get for single segment. But yeah, I recommend you learning the buffer strat first, then practicing Dizzy Destroyers, and then figuring out which phase 2 is best for you. I would recommend doing the max damage uppercuts in phase 2. Just practice them till you can get them. Because phase 2, the easier phase 2 is a little bit more complicated. There's more to remember. It's a very confusing fight. It's a very technical fight, as you can see. Good luck with practicing it. It's not something you're going to learn in a day. But yeah, that's Honda 2.